Good morning, friends, and welcome back to Sunday School here at First United Methodist Church. Man, we are so glad that you are joining us this morning. This morning, we're reading a story about a guy named Moses. Remember, last week we finished our story about Joseph, and at the end of the story, all of Joseph's family moved to Egypt. And a lot of time passed while God's people, the Israelites, lived happily in Egypt under the care and provision of Joseph and his descendants. We pick up our story now in the Spark Story Bible in a story called Baby Moses. So listen and follow along, and we'll see what happens in God's story this week. Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, was afraid. He was rich and powerful and scared. What could he be scared of? Well, strangely enough, Pharaoh was scared of God's people, the Hebrews. He thought there were too many of them, and he was afraid that they would try to become even more powerful than he was. To make sure the Hebrews had no power, Pharaoh made them his slaves and ordered them to work very hard. Even worse, he demanded that all of the Hebrew baby boys should be drowned in the Nile River. And because of this, God's people were terribly afraid too. Everyone in Egypt was afraid. During this fearful time, a baby boy was born to a Hebrew mother. She loved her baby boy, and of course she wanted him to live. The baby's mother kept him safe by making a floating basket for him. She put her baby in the basket and then hid it in the water and the plants at the edge of the Nile River. The baby's big sister, Miriam, hid near the shore and watched over the basket. What happened next was really amazing. Pharaoh's daughter came down to the river to take a bath. She saw the basket among the water and plants and asked her servant to go and get it. When she opened the basket, she was surprised to see a baby boy crying. This must be one of the Hebrews' children, said Pharaoh's daughter. He's awfully cute. Wouldn't it be fun to keep him? Aha, thought Miriam. I can help her. Miriam bravely stepped out of her hiding place. I could probably find someone to help take care of that baby for you until he's a little older, she said. That would be perfect, said Pharaoh's daughter. Miriam was excited to tell her mother the good news. The baby's mother took good care of him. When he was old enough, he went to live with Pharaoh's daughter. Miriam and her mother prayed he would be safe with her. I think I will name him Moses, said Pharaoh's daughter, because I took him out of the water. Moses lived in Pharaoh's palace until he grew up to be a man. During that time, life became worse and worse for the Hebrews. Eventually, however, Moses helped free God's people so they could leave Egypt. Now there was something besides fear for God's people. There was hope. Guys, hope is so important. Hope is what helps us walk through the hard times, knowing that God is with us and knowing that there will be good times that lie ahead. I didn't tell you this at the beginning, but this story is still from the Old Testament. Remember, the Old Testament are those 39 books that are at the beginning of your Bible that tell the story of God and God's people before the birth of Jesus. But this story isn't from Genesis anymore. Remember, Genesis meant beginning. This story is from the book of Exodus, and Exodus means exit. And Moses is going to be the one who helps God's people exit Egypt and find their freedom. Guys, I hope you keep coming back to Sunday school so you can hear what happens next in God's story. We'll see you back next week. Bye, friends.